Well, hello there everybody, and a huge welcome to this ready to play overview of book one and indeed the ready to play series. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're joining me live or whether you're watching this on catch up. Now in this session it is going to be literally an overview. I'm going to treat it, it's not a training session per se, because you can find those already over on the YouTube channel. Instead, I'm going to pretend that actually you probably don't know the books very well, and I'm just going to point out some of the features of the book, and even if you have been using it, I know there are things that we can miss that hopefully I'm going to just put in place for you. I'm also delighted to share 3 or 4, I think it is, lesson videos that one of the teachers on this live call, Angie Say, has been kind enough to share with us. So I think that will certainly get you all inspired. And of course, huge thanks as well to her students and parents for allowing us to all watch that. So let's get started. I'm just going to get one more person in and then we'll get underway with, of course, the very first chant in the book. So you might all just want to stand up for a moment if you feel like it after lunch and just give yourself a little wibble wobble. Can you do a nice little wibble wobble? Because we're going to be a jelly. I don't know what kind of jelly you like. It's a long time since I've had black cherry. I quite like blackberry jelly, I think. So I'm going to pretend I'm going to eat blackberry jelly. Jelly on a plate, bloop, jelly on a plate, bloop, wibble wobble, jelly on a plate, bloop. Now you have to be a bit silly when you're doing all this. There's no good just standing there and delivering it straight. You have to have a big smile on your face, a little bit cheeky, and really lead the way. Model, model, model. And that's one of the key things that you can do. You model first and then you kind of begin to drop out. You fade away, if you like. So let's just do it one more time. I wonder if you could count how many bloops I give. How many bloops do I give altogether? Off I go. Jelly on a plate. Bloop. Jelly on a plate. Bloop. Whipple wobble, jelly on a plate. Bloop. And by asking a very simple question, you've already got that student listening, focusing, paying attention without their without their concentration going. So of course this is the very first song or the very first chant I should say, in the whole book, and I have to say it is a great one for first lessons. It really helps to bring a first lesson to life. And I'm just going to share my screen now with you, and most of this will be on screen, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to see me as well. So here we go. And I'm just going to get this working. Here we go. Right, you should all be able to see that. Okay. So most 5 to 7 year olds would have tremendous fun doing that. You get away from the piano because piano tends to fix things in those very first lessons a bit too much, and the learning that you can get from it is really, really significant. I'd love to, any of you that have got stories about your jelly on the plate and the sort of inventive things that the children have come up with, I'd love you to share it. But of course they can get their hands on the piano to do the bloops. Immediately they're playing. They can also begin to subconsciously, on the whole, develop a sense of rhythm and a sense of pulse. You can change the rhythm and pulse. You don't need to make any of it conscious even. You can just do it. And as I say, they can start to get creative by making up their own words. So, ready to play. I think it really does bring fresh ideas for bringing that music, laughter and learning into your piano lessons. And it brings energy, energy, energy. A little bit about me. So my name is Dr. Sally Cathcart. I am one of the directors of the Curious Piano Teachers. And these days I live all the way up here in the north of England in a beautiful part of the country called Upper Wensleydale. And here was the view yesterday. It's not the same today because the clouds are down, but here's the view of my little town, Hawes, and my house is behind the trees there somewhere. So I walk out the door and I am deeply privileged to live in such a beautiful place these days. I've got a varied background of the sort of things I've done and that have led me to put together the books Ready to Play. I did an MA in music education, and for that I researched into the brain and how to create more musical piano lessons. I did lots of Kodai training, which led me to be, and still am indeed, a musicianship practitioner for the Voices Foundation, one of the UK's national UK music education charities. I was awarded, very lucky to be awarded a Churchill Fellowship, and that allowed me to go to South Africa. I went to Hungary and I went to Cuba just to look at the way that they approach an oral, they have an oral approach to instrumental teaching over there. I'm just going to double check that I am actually recording. Yes, I am recording. I'm just doubting myself. I did a PhD, and then of course today I work with my very dear friends Sharon Mark Teggart with the Curious Piano Teachers. Other things I've done, I've been a tutor on the piano teachers course, which is run at the Purcell School every year since I think 2001. I've been one of the tutors there, and it's partly the Sing Then Play sessions that we hold every morning that we run the course that have helped Ready to Play really to become a much more tangible thing and allowed me to create the series. And of course I've had lots of opportunity with my own piano students to work on my ideas, try things out, develop them, etc, etc. So I just want to start by looking at some of the principles behind the whole series. And really what it takes is this oral vocal approach. I think I got very frustrated quite early on in my teaching. I don't know whether you have the same problem, where the students come along and they're just reading from the notation and they're poking their fingers on the keys, you know, and the sound that you get when that happens is just, ooh, you know. So I'll just change my camera a little bit. I'm over here on the piano. So they're playing. They've got their eyes absolutely on the music, and you know they're doing, and that's because they're not yet thinking in sound. It's the thinking in sound, like we think you're able to think in words. Children need to also be able to think in sound. Just going from the eye to the finger leads to tension in the arms, in the muscles. And I got so frustrated having more advanced students who just had a not very good sound, a not very pleasant sound. And it's because they weren't doing this thinking in sound business. So that was one of my early frustrations. Whereas I find if I focus on teaching the musician rather than teaching the pianist first, then I get a much more switched on pianist in the long run. It doesn't take long for the ear and the brain and the thinking in sound to happen. Really doesn't. So what singing and learning orally can do in a way that nothing else can do really is that it helps us to build strong mental models in our brain. So the two leading researchers on this topic, Alf Gabrielson and Professor Gary McPherson, say this: singing should be a common and natural part of all early instrumental lessons. And if we miss out this singing idea, then actually we're never fully going to get to getting those sensitive musicians. When I talk about singing, I'm not talking about opera singing, I'm not talking about X Factor singing, I'm just talking about everyday singing. Some of you might feel, I haven't got a very good singing voice. That's fine. Just give it a go. Even a little bit of singing is better than no singing at all. I think I was watching Leonard Bernstein conduct an orchestra not very months ago, and he was kind of wanting to convey, you know, what it wanted, and his singing was appalling, absolutely appalling. But he got his musical message across nevertheless. I think Toscanini was the same. He had an appalling, grating voice. However, he did sing, and the musicians understood. Once the singing starts, the inner musician starts to develop. And once the inner musician starts to develop, the young pianist will find everything that this wonderful instrument throws at us, they'll find it so much easier and they'll be able to develop their pianistic skills. So that's the first principle about the oral approach. The second principle is to do with the fact that everything is very, very progressive in the book. The songs, the 12 songs, have been carefully chosen. I was saying this yesterday. They've been selected from hundreds and thousands of songs. Literally, there are thousands of songs out there. So the repertoire is endless, and I've chosen these 12 specifically for a reason. So we start with Jelly on a Plate, which is just a chant. We go on to Cobbler Cobbler, which helps to develop pulse, and you can also play with tempo there. It's just one of the things you could do with Cobbler Cobbler. There's lots more, and you, as the creative teacher, feel free to do it. Yeah? I want you to take the books, take the songs, make them your own. They're not my precious property, they really aren't. And so on and so forth, and I'll take you through some of the concepts in a little while to show you what we're doing. So by going through these concepts, by going through these song repertoires, it's like building up this inner library in your students' mind. We're giving them lots of, a lovely way of thinking about them is it's like Velcro. So the songs provide the hooky bits, and then you kind of stick the concepts onto it, and then they become really, really secure at doing it. So when we have mental scaffolding in the brain, it gives the learning something to stick to. And the books all have this, as I say, carefully thought through pedagogical progression. The third principle, this comes from the idea that learning emerges from play. That goes for all of us, by the way, you as well. If you're being playful, you will learn so much easier, you'll retain it so much more, and it will be more powerful. Learning emerges from play and fun and engaging activities. Fun and engaging, this word engaging again, it's got to be engaging. And the movement involved in many of the songs, whether it's a clapping game like you can see here, but the movement switches the brain on and it increases that level of attention. And the conscious development of the skill and the concepts, they all follow on later, once the songs have actually been learned. So I'm now going to share with you a video. And as I say, I'm really, really grateful to Angie Say, one of the teachers on this call, and somebody I've worked with quite a lot over the years, haven't we, together, Angie? And she's been using Ready to Play last year for the very first time. She had a whole new set of pupils that she tried it with. And this is a reminder video, one of the reminder videos that Angie will send home to the parents so that this young student can play along with it at home. And I believe Angie can come in and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a transfer student. She's come to Angie from somebody else, and her focus is on pulse and rhythm. Yeah, the focus has been to improve her pulse and rhythm. And what I love about this is just the sense of excitement that this young girl has. Let's just watch it. Just give me some thumbs up to make sure you can hear the sound, please.
Okay, now this term Paloma has been working really hard on listening and tapping back accurate rhythm. Okay, you ready? And holding that rhythm in thinking voice. Okay, all right, we're singing together, aren't we?
pass on our congratulations to her. Angie, please. One of the things I love about that, well, there's several things. I just love the look of delight on her face as she's concentrating. Her whole body is moving, isn't it, as she's tapping that rhythm. And she's focused on doing exactly the right thing. She's got this sequence sorted out that she puts the woodblock down and out come those little things. So everything is there, and she has put down sort of such good foundations that she will be successful with that. And I think that is really a positive teaching point. And the other thing, did you notice how the music didn't stop? Once they'd started, it just kept going. So Angie was just busking that left-hand part, and she could take as long as she wanted, and she kept control. She said, not yet, you know. But such a lovely little video clip that isn't. So thank you so much. So we'll have some more from Angie later on. So at the moment, there are 2 ready-to-play books. You have got book 1, which is our focus today, book 2, which we looked at yesterday, and in the pipeline, having been sent to the printers, I believe, on Friday, is book 3. So you'd have to go and watch the second video that I recorded yesterday for more about books 2 and 3. So some people ask me about what age is ready to play. Off we go, book 1 for. And ideally, it was written with children between 5 and 8-year-olds in mind. Okay. Now, it really is significant that younger than this, they are not going to cope with this book, I think, on the whole. They won't cope with the book. That doesn't mean to say you can't do the songs. That's a completely different thing. But the book itself has got too many words. It's probably got too many, moves too fast. They need much, much more consolidation below the age of 5. And even some 5-year-olds, you know, they can be really quite young. So you have to just judge when is the right time for them to have that book. Some people have said, okay, so when are you going to write a book for the younger child, Sally? Maybe. Now I've finished book 3, maybe. So ideally 5 to 8-year-olds, and the songs have been specially chosen to match that age. However, I would also say that it's not the songs, it's what you do with them that will really engage the child. So you could have a 9-year-old and you could still do jelly on a plate with them, as long as you make it cognitively challenging enough by doing some sort of body percussion would be probably the thing that I would go with. They are books for the children, they really are. I've written them, and hopefully you'll agree they're very beautiful looking. That's not down to me at all. But I want the children to write on them. I want them to draw on them. I want them to take ownership of these books and have them as something that they will treasure and remember. They're laid out really quite simply, as you'll see as we go forward. There's lots of white space, and I did that because I just get a bit fed up of books, children's books that have got lots and lots and lots of words on the page and are very, very busy all the way through. And beautiful illustrations by my lovely friend Graham Longdon. There are 12 songs in the book, and the presentation of each song follows each format. Now, if you've already used Ready to Play, then you might not always be aware of all the little things that are going on and why they are there. So this might be of interest maybe. So for example, with Jelly on a Plate, the one we've just done, at the top it says playing the piano, finding the patterns. So that's the focus of this particular song. You get the song words at the top, which I suspect is what that young girl was watching as she was singing through. You then get these things that says, Sally says. Now, I guide the students through the book. I've absolutely written myself into these books. And I even say hello at the very beginning. There is a hello to you, and just before the parents page, there we go. My name's Sally, and I'm a musician and pianist. And I also like singing and playing games, and I hope you do as well. So I've heard from teachers that, yes, their students do indeed like finding out what Sally says. And there are some videos over there on the YouTube channel which they can go and watch where I talk specifically to them. So I point out anything that's really important and I guide them through the books. The definitions of all the concepts are really thought through very carefully. I sit there going, now how do we say this? And they go through about 10 revisions before I get to the actual words. So this is from Song 3. Hey, hey, look at me. And when you tap the words of a song, it gives you the rhythm pattern. With its patterns of longer and shorter sounds, rhythm provides music with its flow. And I don't know about you, but I tend to find when I'm trying to define things off the top of my head, all sorts of different ideas come out. And what I like to do then is go to the book and see, let's see what Sally says, because you know it's there as a nice definition. If you agree with it, of course, if you want to write a slightly different definition, then feel free to. But it's good for them to have a firm definition, I think. Okay, so we've looked at the song words, we've looked at the Sally says, and then at the bottom of the page there is the accompaniment. And these have been written really to provide colour and a bit of character as well. I'll just come over here and give you a quick blast. So this is Jelly on a Plate. Just to... And then we go, should we all do it together? Why not? Let's do it together. So I'm going to give you the off we go. You might do your bloops again, whatever. Wait for me. Are you ready? Off we go. Jelly on a plate. Jelly on a plate. Wibble, wobble, wibble, wobble. Jelly on a plate. Yay! And then of course you can go faster, you can go slower. But as I say, the accompaniments have been carefully put in just to provide a little bit of some freshness and things like that to it. In the Kadai world, we would never sing a song with the accompaniments, okay? So I said this yesterday, it's important first to do it without the accompaniment, always, to teach the song without the accompaniment, and then the accompaniment can come in to actually liven it all up again and make it sound even more musical than it did in the beginning. Do feel free, I'm not precious, do feel free to make up your own accompaniments if you would rather. And why not? Because that's what helps us to be really creative and imaginative in our piano teaching. All right, another thread that runs through are these I can statements. Now, a lot of educational research is available these days that really highlights the impact that positive self-assessment can make for a child and their sense of confidence and their sense of I am in charge of myself. So these I can have absolutely been put in, and there's one in every single song. They've been put in so that the child can self-assess, and what it also requires them to do is some metacognition, thinking about their own thinking sometimes. Now, the research shows that is one of the most powerful ways of learning you can possibly imagine. So please do get your students to go through these. I think I was a bit, my ideas about these I can and how to present them have developed so that in book 3, where I've just put book 3, I've now got little stars. Here we go. I've moved into the little stars. Here you have just got, let me just find an example. There we go. So here's Frere Jacques that I was doing yesterday. You can see it's, I think, just slightly prettier. Here, what could you do? I'd get mine to do smiley faces or put themselves, draw something in there. Yeah, so, again, something just a little more imaginative than a tick. Would I change that? Yes, I would in another edition. I encourage the students to complete all these things with their parents in between the lessons. Do I go through them all in the following lesson? No, probably not, because, time is short always. But I will certainly pick out something, or I'll ask them, can you choose one of those to show me for next week? Okay. Finally, The last constant in every song is ready to play. And it hopefully does just what we want it to do. We want them to either be ready to play the piano or ready to play in some other shape or form. So with this one, what we want is, with Jelly on the Plate, we want them to be creative with the verses and go away and come back the following week with a new idea. I've given them some ideas, to start with: pizza in the car, crumbs, pizza in the car, crumbs. But I love some of the ideas that my students have come back with. If you've got any fab ones that you've heard, please, again, do share it there. We're all sharing. So, a quick overview, really, of the progression that you're going to find. This, as I say, in book one, I would highly recommend that you follow through this progression. If you've got a new student for the first time, this is what you need to go through. Depending on the student's musical sensitivity at that point, musical development, you might go through it quite fast, or you might go through it much slower. That's for you to decide as the teacher. So with rhythmically, we're looking at keeping a steady pulse. You're looking at faster and slower. We also introduce rhythm notation and the idea of meter, bars and bar lines. For rhythm notation, we use, I particularly like to use French time names, and that's what you'll find introduced. So jelly on the plate, ti 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 ta. If you want to use different words though, then again, that's up to you. But what is important is to recognise that the language that you use, rather than counting, the language actually gives them access to the rhythm. It's a tool that they can use to actually be able to work out a rhythm themselves. Most children at this age will find metrical counting far too challenging. They have difficulty enough, I'm sure you found, going 1, 2, 3, 4, let alone 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These subdivisions, it's quite an advanced and adult thing to be able to do. So rhythm, language, one sort or another, is actually far, far more effective. One moment. There we go. And then pitch. Okay, so in the book you'll find that it adopts, it uses solfa. So, mi, la, so, mi re, do, so, mi, do, so, mi re, do. And we call those tone sets. And a tone set effectively is like a small part of a scale. Yeah. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with solfa, there is it is the oldest form of notation, I have to say. It goes back to about the 12th, 13th century. And what it does is it helps them to think in sound. We're not doing this through notation itself, we're doing it through these singing names. And the relationship between these singing names stay the same. So, mi, so, mi, so, mi. I can move the starting pitch around, but the so and the mi always will sound like that. Musicians have to be able to make sense of pitch in their head first, ideally, without reference to a piano. Other concepts that you get in book one, we introduce phrases. That's a really, really important feature of music after all, and that leads us into structure. Something called the thinking voice. Okay, so that's the voice in your head. Old Mr. Woodpecker sitting in a tree. I have to sing it in my head. Again, we all, as musicians, as pianists, we all have an inner musician that you can hear even when there is no instrument physically present. Something called rhythm solfa is, which we'll look at in a moment, and we also go through fixed pitch, and we introduce the intervals of seconds and thirds. So a lot of the concepts you see here absolutely match up with some of the piano tutor books that are out there. And this is designed to be used, I haven't actually said this at all, have I? But it's designed to be used alongside a piano tutor book. It is not a book to learn the piano through. It is a tutor book for musicianship. Put the two together and all of a sudden you have quite a powerful combination. Because I find many tutor books, they actually go in with the piano and with the music understanding sort of expected to be already there, and that can lead to the problems that I highlighted at the beginning. Okay, so here we have old Mr. Woodpecker sitting in a tree, and we heard Angie's student, I think, just doing that a little while ago. Here's a graphic score. They're reading the music, believe it or not. How do we know that? Well, just look at those woodpeckers. Look how they're higher on a so and lower on a me. Just look at how they are larger and smaller. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, yeah? And I love getting students to tell me, what do you see? You know, don't give them the answers all the time. Ask them questions. What can you see there? And give them at least 5 seconds to think about it. If after 5 seconds they still haven't really said anything, then yeah, maybe give them a little nudge. Why do you think, but ask them another question, why do you think, or I wonder why, some of the woodpeckers are large and some of the woodpeckers are small? Yeah. So my role as a teacher is to help the student to learn, not to show them how much I know. That's not my job at all. I want them to learn, so I have to ask them these questions to help them with that. Graphic scores, really, really lovely features, I think. And actually it's helping them to understand how the written notation works before they get round to it. In case any of you are wondering why there is a little circle on the top line, can you see, between two of the small let me just see if I can highlight them, which I should be able to. You see this, there's a little circle just here. People say, what's that for, Sally? And I go, it's an edit, it's a printing error, yeah? Shouldn't be there. It's got nothing musical to do at all. So just ignore it, okay? Just thought I'd point that out to you. Okay. I've already said each song has some beautiful illustrations by Graham Longdon. But these aren't just decoration on the whole, they are there to highlight the learning. So here, for example, this one is from Rain is Falling Down, and it highlights the phrase structure. And I'm going to come over here, and here's a good song for you to take away actually from today. I'll just sing it, I'll teach it to you, and you sing it back, and then we'll sing it all the way through with the piano accompaniment, because it's a long time since I've done this. It's a rainy day here, and I just love this song. My turn first. Rain is falling down, splash. Rain is falling down, splash. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. Rain is falling down, splash. My turn and your turn. Rain is falling down, splash. Rain is falling down. My turn. Rain is falling down, splash. Rain is falling down, splash. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. Rain is falling down. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. Rain is falling down. You might just think about some of the different questions you could ask, a bit like I was in Jelly on the Plate. What questions could you ask to engage the student as they listen to you sing the song all the way through? You know, maybe they could count how many splashes there are. Maybe they could look out for the words of pitter patter. Depends on the age. How many words start with the letter P, letter P? I'm just going to say before I play that these songs, the pitch of the song is actually quite a low one for students of this age, and you might actually want to take it much higher. Rain is falling down, because that's where they'll want to sing it, somewhere around G or F or A. Yeah, that's where little children, that's where their voices live, because they're just little. However, I've had to kind of compromise a little bit on this to make it so that they can eventually play it on the piano. I'll talk about the teacher's guides for book 1, which are available in the Ready to Play Facebook group, because there you've got all different transposed versions of the accompaniment. Okay, so here we go. Are you ready? Off we go. Rain is falling down. Rain is falling down. Pitter patter, rain is falling down. And then if they know the song, then maybe they could sing it in solfa. Off we go. Mi, mi, re, re, do. Mi, mi, re, re, do. Mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, do. Then maybe they can play it on the piano, which I can't obviously, because I can't do both hands at the same time. And then maybe they could go on and improvise, just using those same 3 notes while you keep that lovely accompaniment flowing underneath. Just having done the song, going back to our pictures here, phrase structure. In what way do these pictures highlight the phrase structure, I wonder? I'm just going to go and check on some comments. Hopefully you'll hear that it was A, B, A. Yeah? A, B, A. So that's exactly what we've got. Okay. And okay, so here's another sort of graphic-y score with the illustrations again, highlighting the skip movement of the pitch. All right, so it's time for another lesson clip. Oh yes, this one. All right. Angie's smiling. Angie, do you want to come off mute and just come and talk us through? I've got both videos of Erin, okay?
Okay, all right. So this unit, I've timed it. This is autumn term. So this is my post-COVID pupil, starting with Ready to Play. So it was my first term as well with Ready to Play. And I tried very hard to time it so that we're just about apple tree, just before Christmas, because I know that Sally had this wonderful Christmas resource on related to apple tree. So for this pupil, the clip that you're about to watch is the second lesson on apple tree. So she's gone home to learn the song and sing the solfa. So we do the so she's marked it all. She knows her stuff basically. And where we are is lesson 2, and I'm reviewing how she would find from solfa onto key names, like fixing the pitch. So do we just let the video run, Sally?
Let the video run and then...
Right, self-explanatory.
Thank you, Angie. Okay, so let's just get the video ready.
Hello, Erin. Today we are reviewing how we find so, mi, and la on the piano. And today I want you to be able to find these 3 pictures on the piano using the formula that we have reviewed on the page. Okay, now there's going to be my challenge to you. We're not going to start from the usual so. We're going to start from la. Okay, can you find so and mi from la? You can use the apple chart to help you. Oh, what have you found?
So,
Good, you're going to put so there. And then. Well done. What have you found?
Me.
Excellent. Can you put me over there? Good job. Can you play Christmas Tree together with me on these new notes? Hang on a second. Let's go to video 2.
Okay, so we will go straight on to video 2, but a couple of things I really love about what Angie does there. Notice how she sings the singing name. La, so, mi. It's a really important thing. It's a tiny thing, but you must attempt to sing them. They are singing names, they're not speaking names. So whenever you say so and me, then do your best to sing them if you can. And sing them obviously at the pitch you're going to be playing at. That's another important thing, which can feel a bit high at times, I have to say.
It is. I had to practice to get it, and she laughed at me just before we press record. This is a lesson reminder, and it's, I think the more we show our pupils that we too sometimes can go off key, it makes them feel safe to try, and we can all laugh together. It's a really safe environment, and they'll sing more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Angie. So let's go on now to the next video. I think we get to see her. There we go. Now she's fixing the pitch on the piano.
This is the third video clip. We're going to sing Apple Tree, or Christmas Tree rather, but this time we're going to sing it with fixed alphabets because this tells you exactly which key to play on the piano. Where is your so?
Here.
Go on. Okay, now that is also what alphabet? G, because our me is on E, and then that means our la is going to be on. Well done, good girl. Ready? Are you ready? Off we go. G, G, E, G, G, E, G, G, A, A, G, G, Bravo. Can you practice that at home this week? Fantastic.
Okay, yeah, really, really lovely there. And I love the way that, as so often happens, we start at one speed because we have the singing in our mind, and then you just seamlessly, okay, she's going to go a bit slower. So you just adapt and keep it moving. Yeah, really lovely to see. So fixing the pitch, some people sort of find it difficult to know, well, this is so in me, it has no pitch. Well, of course it does. It has a relative pitch, but then it's getting that fixed pitch onto the piano. And what I particularly liked about that is the systematic way Angie had given her for working out where the pitches were, down to the little fluffies that she had on the piano, and that she was. I noticed that on the very first screen that we saw the book, and you'd written down 3 keys and you'd written down 4 keys. So all the information she needed to be successful at home was provided. Thank you, Angie. Okay. So, then we have something called rhythm solfa. And rhythm solfa is an important tool in helping to build notation reading readiness. I kept saying yesterday in the training, it's about helping the children, the musician, the young musician, the old musician, whoever, to think in sound. When we're faced with the rhythm and the pitch underneath, all written on one line, there's only one place that the music can happen, and that has to be up here. We have no other recourse, really. So rhythm solfa is something that does take time to develop. It needs lots and lots and lots and lots of repetition and practice. And if you are doing ready to play as sort of 10-minute segments in a lesson, which I know many of you will do, then you probably won't get very far with the child being independent at doing this at the end of the first year. They really need musicianship every week, ongoing, ongoing, ongoing. But it doesn't mean to say you should leave it out, because absolutely you need to be working with them at this. And again, you have to model as much as you possibly can. One of the suggestions I have for this is to do it with body solfa. Mi, mi, re, re, do. You know, choose somewhere to put mi, which is the highest pitch. Mi, re, do on my knees maybe, and then you all sing the song together using the body solfa. Okay. You hopefully will recognise what this song is, because we've got the same pictures as we've just had. Rain is falling down. Let's give it a go together, even if you've never used any solfa before. Here's me, this is re, this is do, off we go. Mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, do. Mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, do. And you've done it once, so now let's do it again. Have a listen. Are you ready? Off we go. Mi, mi, re, re, do. Mi, mi, re, re, do. Mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, re, do. Yeah. We change the starting pitch. The relationship between mi, re, and do stays exactly the same. Something else I might do is, and you'll see lots of my lovely Lulu here over in the training videos, because to have a puppet or some other thing that is not you is both powerful for me as a teacher, because I can transfer myself and put it on Lulu wanting you to sing, and also you'll be surprised how often children will sing to a puppet where they won't sing to me. It is a displacement activity. But I can do things like practice, get the child to practice their solfa. Okay, Lulu? So my turn first, and then you copy. Are you ready? Okay, my turn. Mi, re, do. Your turn. Mi, re, do. And the child will sing with Lulu. My turn again. Mi, mi, re, re, mi. Your turn. Mi, mi, re, re, mi. Ooh, lovely. Now this time, Lulu, could you sing those? And I would like the child to copy. Okay, so you sing them. Off we go. Mi, re, do. And then the child. Mi, re, do, etc., etc. So again, I think Lulu does help that scaffolding idea again. She makes them feel more comfortable with singing, because she's there to help them. Yeah, she's their little friend. So find yourself a Lulu or something similar maybe. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so another aim of the book is to help the children and reduce their cognitive overload. So again, this is all about good teaching practice. Nothing to do with teaching the piano, but of course it is all to do with good teaching the piano. But if we give children, adults, ourselves, too many new challenges to think about, all at the same time, we just fall apart and say, oh, I'm hopeless, I can't possibly do all that. So for example, moving from solfa to fixed pitch is challenging. We have to juggle a lot of things. So I'm just going to come off that actually. I'm just going to go back to that. And let's think, mi, let me just find a pitch for me. Mi, re, do. So if C is do, what note is re? D. What note is mi? E. Now you and I can do that because we're quite experienced at it, and I've never done this before. Let's try something different. Let's do X, Y, Z, shall we? So if do is X, Ray is, me is. So let's sing Rain is Falling Down with those letter names. I've never done this, so I could go completely wrong. In fact, I suspect I will. X, Y, Z, yeah. You see how hard it is? X, Y, Z. I've got to keep remembering Z. Off we go. Z, Z, X, X, Y. Z, Z, X, X, Y. Z, Z, X, X, Z, Z, X, X, Z, X, X. I was doing it the wrong way round though, wasn't I? And I was trying to work it out in my head. Am I doing? No, I'm not. Can you see? It is really very challenging, and we expect our children to be able to do that. So I was definitely being very cognitively overloaded there. Whereas if I'd had this, oh well, that would have been so much easier, because I could have done that if I'd have had X, Y, Z written out there. And actually, it's interesting, just even seeing that on the page, I can put the X, Y, Z in place. Do you know what I mean? I can actually see that on my screen in front of me, whereas before I was just trying to go through everything in my head. So cognitive overload is a real problem, threat, danger in our learning when we're having to juggle 2 or 3 things simultaneously. It's really hard work. So here we give them the letter names to help avoid that cognitive overload. And I think I've just been a perfect demonstration actually of the how difficult this is. Okay, so finally each book ends with a self-assessment sheet, so more I cans that are going to cover all the things that have been covered in the book, and then we have a lovely certificate here at the end where we certify they've completed the book and graduate to book 2. I find that going back to the I Can assessment sheet, this takes 2 to 3 weeks to get through really successfully, you know, and I might get them to go take it away, work at 3 or 4 of them and make sure they can come back the following week. So don't rush it. And if they've completed book 1, you know, in a year, and you're ready to start them on to book 2 the following year, September for example, this might, taking 1 or 2 of these particular activities might be a really good way of just revising and refreshing them. Okay, so there's that. Okay, yes, if you're new to Ready to Play, there are lots of videos out there on the Ready to Play YouTube channel. Do go and have a look. There's all songs with accompaniment, without accompaniment, in solfa. There are some songs with Sally, which are specifically for the children. I just haven't done enough of them, but they are all there. And there's lots of teacher training. Yeah. So when the books were first launched 2 years ago, I did some teacher training for book 1 and some teacher training for book 2, where I go into how to use the songs, how to deliver the songs in far more depth than I've been able to so far. Do subscribe, because you'll find that as we go forward with book 3, we've already recorded all the videos, they're already done. Ollie, my editor, is editing them, so you'll find that there is lots more going to appear when book 3 comes out. We also have a lovely Ready to Play Facebook group, which has now reached the giddy heights of over 500 members, I have to say. And do come along, because there's lots and lots and lots of resources that you can find. If you go to the More button and press on Files, you'll find there's lots and lots of PDF files. I am going to share, before you go, for anybody who wants it, I just need to get my screen up here a little bit. I'll do that in a minute. I can share a sample song, which is Jelly on a Plate, that you can take away, use in your lessons just this afternoon. I'll share that in a moment. You can see the Facebook group names at the bottom. You need to look for Ready to Play Music. And there you will also find the teacher's guides. Now, I took a long time writing these teacher's guides for book 1. They are quite extensive. Each one has sort of some learning outcomes. It has lots of background about it. It has the activities that you can do, as well as transposed accompaniments. It's only there for book one, though, I'm afraid. It was very time consuming. Lots of fun, but very time consuming. And finally, if you are interested in buying some books and you are based in the UK, Alfred UK are running a special offer for UK teachers. It's 25% off using the code RTP2022, and it is valid till the 30th of September. Valid for the 30th of September. But just before I come off screen and see if they're... Oh yes, in the States you can get them via the Piano Safari website. So if you're listening from the States, then go over and look on the Piano Safari website, and the lovely Katie Fisher and Julie Nerhaig have kindly agreed to distribute my books over there, which is fantastic. And it works beautifully along with Piano Safari, it really does. Finally, a final clip from Angie to finish, and this is lovely because this is a brother and sister playing a duet. I think the young man is about grade 2-ish, and I think the young girl has just started in September. So a little bit of music to finish with, to see us off the slides. Here we go. Very, very beautiful. Well done. Well done, those two. Don't quite know why the slide went a bit funny that time. So, yeah, thank you and happy playing. Let me just stop my slide. I don't know which screen to touch first. There we go. So, I'm very happy to take any questions that anybody has. I can see there's been lots and lots of chat, which I haven't been able to keep up with particularly. But yeah, I can see everybody's enjoying Angie's videos. Yes, really, really grateful for you doing that, Angie, and sharing that with us. It's fantastic. So I will just share the sample of Jelly on a Plate in case anybody hasn't. Here we go. I'll just do it on this one. Everybody's here should be able to see that in a moment. There we go, Jelly on a Plate sampler. As I say, if you haven't yet found us over on Facebook, then do come and join in. We have occasional spurts of activity, but there are lots and lots of files over there and PDFs that you can download, etc. Are there any questions? That's my final call for any questions from anybody about anything, any other part of the songs that they would like. Okay, I've put it there to everybody, Philippa. I can see it on my two screens. Can other people see this? Yeah. Maybe it's gone hiding somewhere. I don't know whether you're on an iPad, Philippa, but have a little look. If you can't find it, then just send me a message and I'll drop it over to you. But I'm going to finish there for today. I'm going to just stop my recording saying thank you so much for watching, for being ready to play. And as I say, it's such a lovely, delightful thing to be able to do in piano lessons, because you can have fun as well as developing some really, really important musicianship skills at the piano. Thank you.